Hi guys, my name is GeekyGaia. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be something that I actually considered doing in the past video. If you guys recall my video of how I would end Yashahime, I kind of focused a lot on KIRINMARU. As you can tell in that video, I actually love KIRINMARU'S character. He's very fascinating to me. And I had an idea of putting out this other video of my theory of who he's based off of. And I didn't do it because of reasons, but as of Yashahime's episode 24 that recently came out, it inspired me to actually go through with this video after all. So today's video is going to be based off of which Chinese mythology god that I think KIRINMARU is based off: the Dragon King. According to Chinese mythology, the Dragon King, or Longwang, is a deity guardian who controls all dragons, all the creatures of the sea, the ocean, and the weather. He can be known for his fierce, aggressive personality. However, he is the symbol of and the embodiment of the concept of Yang, which is actually kind of ironic because I have described Sesshomaru and KIRINMARU as yin and yang. Now, Longwang has two forms: his zoomorphic form and his human warrior form, or his human persona. Now, according to Chinese description and pictures, Longwang doesn't look anything like the KIRINMARU we know and love. However, let me read this description to you, and let me ask the question, does this sound familiar to you? Longwang dresses in elaborate royal robes and has blazing red skin, hair. His animal form has scale colors that vary based on the artist, but is typically drawn in the Chinese dragon style with a serpentine body, sharp horns, hair-like beard, and large claws. In ancient texts, Longwang is described as having the head of a horse and the tail of a snake with wings on its side. Now, come on, you have to admit that the similarities are pretty spot on. Despite the fact that we haven't seen KIRINMARU'S true form, I am still hoping that we will see him turn into some fearsome dragon. I think it would be cool. Also, consider his powers and what he controls. He lives on the boat in the ocean, and when he's in the middle of a battle, or leaves a battle, the weather is always nuts. In my last reaction video, I mentioned how KIRINMARU has this understanding or complements Towa's and Moroha's dragon attacks. Well, as it turns out, Longwang has 4 brothers that preside over the northern, eastern, southern, and western seas. It is also known that Longwang and his brothers were able to communicate telepathically without speaking a single word. So it makes sense as to why he understands and respects Towa and Moroha's dragon attacks, because he himself is a dragon and may be able to speak to them, possibly. According to legends, Longwang has thousands of children, including a young girl, Sagura, by the way, means ocean. Sagura achieves Buddhahood in the story called the Lotus Sutra. To this day, Longwang is the symbolic father of all the early Chinese emperors. Now, KIRINMARU may only have one sibling, Zero, but he does rule over all the demons in the east, and he calls himself the Beast King of the East, KIRINMARU of the Dawn. Now, the story Sagura is mentioned in the Lotus Sutra is a very interesting one, and one that I think complements and talks about KIRINMARU'S character very well and explains a lot about who he is. According to the story, Longwang's daughter Sagura was taken under the Buddha's wing and taught the Dharma. She spent years spreading the word of Buddha as his disciple and made it her goal to bring the teaching to her father. However, Longwang refused. So Buddha himself made the trip to Longwang's ocean palace and taught him the Dharma personally. Longwang finally accepted the teachings and was granted godhood. After adopting the concepts of the Dharma, he continued it throughout all his undersea affairs. Now, Buddha's teachings are known as Dharma. Buddha taught wisdom, compassion, patience, generosity, all very important virtues. All Buddhists are taught what is known as the 4 Noble Truths, which are the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of the path that frees us from suffering. The morals that all Buddhists must live by are: don't kill living things, to not take what is not given, no sexual misconduct, no lying, and no use of drugs or alcohol. Now, although Kirinmaru may fail a couple of these morals, he still actually practices a lot of good morals. When we see Kirinmaru in backflashes with Toga, they are kind of seen as protectors. He even himself comes across as very kind and generous. Toga and Kirinmaru didn't really have to deal with the comet's fragments every 500 years, but they do. Even years later, Kirinmaru is actually willing to help out with the comet before he realizes that Inuyasha and Sesshomaru have already dealt with it. The Tree of Ages even talks about Toga and Kirinmaru and saying how both of them kept each other in check to make sure that there was a balance. And although Kirinmaru towards the end of Toga's life wanted to fight him, he still had the compassion to make sure that he was healthy enough to fight, making sure that Riku gathered the finest herbs to help him with his injuries. His patience and compassion kept him from acting rashly. When he killed Setsuna, he mentioned how regrettable it was, and if they had Sesshomaru's Tenseiga, they could have brought her back. And later, he would say he will carve Setsuna's name onto his heart and never forget her. It's an odd thing to say, but when you think about it, it really makes sense as to who he is and what he believes. He's a very powerful, benevolent, compassionate, and may even be described as wise ruler. He reminds me in some old ways of how Sesshomaru used to be, where he was power hungry and always looking for the toughest demon to fight. But Kirinmaru is more honorable. Not to say that Sesshomaru doesn't have honor, but Kirinmaru obviously has a very high standard. I'm sure he may have been inspired by his friend Toga to be who he was, or he may have developed his own character on his own. Either way, Kirinmaru is a very interesting villain. He's probably the one that sticks out the most out of any other villain in any anime series that I have known that has this kind of enlightened standard of themselves. I am curious to know if Kirinmaru will fall from this standard that he has for himself, or if he continues to uphold it to the very end. Well guys, that is it. That is the end of this video. I hope you did enjoy this video and my concept of how Kirinmaru is based off of the Chinese mythological god, the Dragon King. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more geek content. It really does help my channel. I appreciate it. Don't forget who loves you.